and welcome to the Pickle Planet podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Jenna Morton, coming to you from the inside of my car for those of you who are watching the video of this. It was the quietest place I could find.
The best part about this is that it's so far been the hottest day of the year, and Jenna's in her car.
Sun pouring in. Sorry about the lighting, folks, but you don't come here to watch my face, really. You come for what we talk about and who we bring on the show, right?
Absolutely. So on the show today, we are going to be talking, Jenna and I have been talking a lot about New Brunswick in the summer and getting a chance to explore it. And we've spoken with Pauline Axford before about the travels that you and your families do with Dubnies Adrift. And you guys travel so well with your children and go to the most beautiful places. So Pauline, we want to talk today about you guys staying here in New Brunswick this year.
Yep, we are doing a New Brunswick staycation for sure this year. But actually, I was saying to my husband the other day that I think we might have some part of the blame in this whole coronavirus thing, because we were driving around town. I think it was in February, and I said to him, I'm really going to miss being in New Brunswick this year. There's so many things that I want to see and do, and we weren't planning on being here for the entire summer, so I was feeling really kind of disappointed. And then I think it might have tempted fate just a little bit too much. So I do think maybe we have a little bit of responsibility for all this. Sorry, everyone.
And folks who are listening and watching that are regulars may remember the last episode we did with you where we really focused on international travel, because that's what you do really well with your young kids. And that's what you guys were planning. You were planning a summer filled with international travel, and not to, rub salt in your wounds here. But I think that sharing a little bit about how you guys had to come to terms with that will probably help people who also had big plans for this summer that they've had to shift now.
Yeah, we have canceled a lot. So we've canceled a trip to the Dominican Republic. We should have been and gone by now. We are supposed to be in Newfoundland right now watching icebergs floating along. And for the summer, my mum was getting married in England. So she's had to cancel her wedding, and we were obviously going to go there. We were going to go to London, and then we were going to spend 2 months camping around France. So that's not happening at all. So no international travel for us, but that's okay. I mean, we love to travel internationally, and we do whenever we get the opportunity, but we also have done a lot of traveling in Canada. So we have Brian, my husband, he's from British Columbia. So we've seen loads of BC. We used to live in Alberta before we moved to New Brunswick. And then when we moved here, we actually camped all the way across Canada. So we took like a 6-week camping trip. And so we love being in Canada. And we've seen it kind of from coast to coast, actually, apart from Newfoundland, that one province that keeps evading us. And we've seen it from coast to coast. And we're always just so impressed by the Maritimes. There's really no place else like it in Canada apart from British Columbia, where you've got the ocean and the coast and the beaches. And actually the beaches here are better than BC. I'm just going to say it.
East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah. We don't have the mountains that are quite as high, but we still do have mountains and hills.
Got a few impressive ones though.
For sure. And so BC gets all the tourists, and I don't understand why. New Brunswick has just as much to offer as that. So no, we're excited to be here. And like I said before, we were feeling a little sad that we weren't going to get to do any of the things on our hit list this year, but now we do.
Now
so
you will.
It's good. Yeah, I mean, it's a change, but there's a lot of positives in it.
So how are you offsetting? Because you're obviously big planners.
I am a huge planner, yeah.
Yeah. So how are you offsetting what you were going to do with what your plans are now?
It took a little while. If you'd asked me that maybe a month ago, you might have just seen me here in tears. It took a little while to kind of get used to it. And actually I flipped my agenda into June, and it still had all the dates on it. And it had, I'm a little heartbroken. But I'm actually not planning much for this summer. I think that this year we're all going to have to just embrace flexibility. Just like what happened yesterday with Edmundston kind of getting shut down. I think we all just need to have lists of things that, for us anyway, for our family, we're going to have lists of things that we want to do, but we're just going to be aware that, you know, we might be doing this one week, or maybe next week that place might not be allowed, or maybe we won't be allowed to leave. So yeah, just embracing flexibility. I have to put my planner away for this summer, I think, and just relax a little bit more.
I think that's, it's really funny you say that about the planner, because I have it on my list to go buy a new one, because I have that same problem. I keep like going, okay, well maybe next month. No, look, I had things planned already too, and I'm just like, I can't even, I can't try to white it out. I just need
Yeah.
to get a new one that has that, like, that space, and that, like, just like a list of could happens.
I haven't deleted my France at all. I'm hopeful that we might just be able to kind of copy and paste it into next year, so it's all still there. But yeah, I'm the same as you. I can't quite bring myself to erase it.
So what are some of the ideas that are on your list? What are the places that you've either haven't been yet or have been and are going to go back to that are really calling to you in New Brunswick?
The whole province. You know, we have what, 2 months, June, July, 3 months, I guess, to, because my husband is not working right now and I'm not working quite so much. So we've got lots and lots of time to explore. We've got months, and I mean, in 3 months you can wipe out a province, no problem at all. And especially such a little one like New Brunswick, there's so many things you can do that are just day trips. So for me, the big one, I really want to go north. I want to go to the Acadian Peninsula. I definitely want to do Miscou Lighthouse and that point there, and I'm going to absolutely torture the name here, but Shippagan or Shippagan.
In English, we say Shippagan.
Just Shippagan. There we go. Okay. And that, yeah, well, actually, that is on my hit list. I want to learn by the end of the summer. I want to learn how to pronounce Kushibujuak.
Kushibuquack? Yeah.
I can't do it. I just can't do it. I've been here for 2 years. I still can't do it.
Yeah, give it at least 3 more years and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. That's on my hit list for sure. I definitely want to do Grand Manan Island. We haven't done that area yet. I'm not a huge one for ferries, but I think I'm going to have to suck it up this year. Do some of the island hopping there. And the coastline, we're absolute suckers for beaches. So we've started tracking the coast. We love to take, you know, when you pull up Google Maps and there's all those little white roads on them, we veer off onto them. Sometimes it's a dirt road. And we're trying to do that around the whole New Brunswick coast. So that's going to be on the list for this year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Really, really, really cool. I know I spend a lot of time down in Albert County, but my goal is to get further north this year as well and check out some of that. I mean, you were going to go to France. You'll at least get some French along the Acadian Peninsula anyway.
That was right. I mean, we wanted to go to France because we're learning French. So we wanted to kind of fully immerse ourselves in French. And at least we can still do that in the north here for sure. Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, we spent some time. I haven't done the Acadian Peninsula, and that's on my list of places that I'm hoping to get this summer as well. But we did like that Bathurst area last summer on our way back from Quebec, and I was just blown away about, absolutely beautiful and such a great spot that hopefully we'll get back to as well. And if you're looking for that mountain vibe, the Baker Lake and like that part of like up beyond Edmundston and up that part of the province is just, it's incredible. And it is, you really get that sense that you've gone to a different type of environment. You're not in, you know, the the very boring part of the highway zone where it's just woods, and you're not the coastline. If you want mountains, we have them in this province, and I think a lot of us who live in this part of it don't go see that enough.
Yeah, I think we forget that it's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I remember like when the last 2 summers, we've taken a driving trip and we've gone to Ontario and Quebec to visit friends, and driving through that part, when you get up towards the Quebec border, you're just like, where did we go? And I have friends too who make a regular habit of summering at Baker Lake, and they post pictures, and everyone's just like, did you go to BC? Did you go to Muskoka? Did you, like, it looks like this completely different landscape, and it's here. It's, you know, like you said, you know, half a day's drive away. It's not that far.
Fundy looks almost identical to the BC coastline, you know, with the beaches and with the exception of the mountains behind you, I guess. It just looks so much like it. The coastline, the cliffs, the rugged rocks, and like everything just reminds us so much of BC. Lovely.
What I like about it is how much it reminds me of Ireland. Same with the rock cliffs and the rock faces and stuff like that. That a lot of it, I think, why I love Fundy so much is how much it reminds me of Ireland, for sure.
That was actually a huge reason for one of the reasons why we moved to New Brunswick. One of them actually was the French. We love the French culture and we really wanted to immerse ourselves in that. And the other one was that it's just such an older part of Canada and there's much more of a European culture here. There's more European architecture. The people have a much more relaxed European feel compared to West Coasters. Yeah, I mean, it was a huge draw. And St. John, I just love St. John so much. And it just reminds me of my hometown, right? Like I can walk around and I feel kind of at home, even though my hometown is in Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
It's funny, I was thinking about that this morning, actually, about how old this province is in the country and how much we kind of take that for granted a lot of the times. Like, we're one of the 4 founding pillars of this country. And the reason I was thinking about it was this idea that, sometimes people get a little down on the Maritimes, a little like, we have our slow pace of life and we've had our kind of slow economic times. And I was like, you know what? No, I think that's just because like we're older than the rest of the country. We're just going through like our midlife crisis.
We're more mature. We're mature
than Alberta and BC.
That's so true. I remember when we lived in Alberta, I remember we were out one night with a friend and we had this little boat. We were sitting on this lake with some beers. And she's like, oh, we need to go row to this little island. There's this really cool brick built house. She was so excited that this house was made of bricks. And it's been there for like 50 years. Yeah.
I had a similar experience in Calgary.
New Brunswickers get that story. Other Albertans don't.
I was working in the newsroom in Calgary and I walked in the morning and everyone's kind of like in this buzz. You can tell something's happening really early in the morning and they're like, I need someone to go right away. There's the historical buildings on fire. And like, Jenna, can you go? I'm like, yeah, sure. Tell me more about this building. What's the significance? It's this 80-year-old church.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be right there.
Building because it's 80 years old.
Yeah.
All right, and that was my first like real like face-to-face like, yeah, the rest of the country is not as old as we are.
Yeah. You have grandparents older than that church. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's neat, and that there's so much of that we can still discover in our province too, which is fantastic. Right? We went out to Fort Beauséjour or Fort Cumberland, depending on who you're talking to. It was fantastic. And our kids, I was impressed with how much our kids were into it because I have to say, unfortunately, my children do not share my love of museum hopping. So there's a lot of places that I would love to go that I'm kind of like, that's not going to be a fun family trip.
You have to wait a year or two.
Yeah.
Beauséjour, they really got into it. It was small enough that it captured their attention. Whereas, some of the bigger places like, like Louisbourg or, the Citadel in Halifax, it just keeps going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Too much.
Whereas like Fort Beauséjour, it was very contained. And then there was just so much land and there was the wind and everything was, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to make a visit back there again this summer.
Yeah. So the last time you were on, Pauline, we talked a lot about how you fly with the kids. This year's obviously going to be a lot of driving with the kids. How do you prepare for that? Do you think you're going to treat it much like being on a plane?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I think so. Our kids are used to driving. So like I say, we drove across Canada, right? Like they're used to getting in there for long road trips. As another thing I have to say about New Brunswickers, I just find is so charming is that they really think distance is a big thing. The rest of other Canadians, they just get in the car, they drive for 3 hours and think nothing of it. New Brunswickers, I found going half an hour down the road is a long way for them. So I'd love to see them get out of that mindset this summer and just maybe stretch those road trips a little bit further. It's amazing what the kids can do if you prepare them for it. We're going to be in the car for a while. Just going to have to settle in, and we're going to bring some books, we're going to bring some coloring things, you can bring some toys, not noisy ones because they'll drive you insane, and we're going to bring some snacks. We always pack snacks and water and things like that. Yeah, and just settle in for the drive. And I don't know, I have to think about some some tips. But I mean, you guys probably have loads of car driving tips too, because you do big long trips as well. But
Jenna does, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not sure that we do them as well as we could. But definitely the snacks, to the point now where if we get in the car at all, my children expect there to be snacks. Like, we're driving into Riverview and they're like, I'm hungry. Like, it's a 15-minute drive to your grandparents. You're okay. It's not the 6-hour drive to your other grandparents. That one you get snacks. But yeah, a lot of snacks, and snacks that are, you're not too worried about whether they're going to spill in the vehicle.
yes,
Right, like goldfish are great, but oh my goodness, there's so many goldfish in the van. Like, not the best van snack for our family. And I've also learned over the years, even with our kids being 7 and 8 now, smaller packaging and individual packaging, even though it's like a pain to put 3 containers of strawberries, it's better to do that than to have one to ask them to pass around.
oh yeah, they don't get on well with that.
Well, especially for us, because it's 3, right? Like,
3,
it's not 2
yeah.
of them in the back seat, right? Between them, they have to go between back and forth.
Right.
So to share something gets really tricky for us, having the van and people spread out. Whereas, yeah, if they were in the same, aisle, then we might force it a bit more.
Well,
but it's easier to do individual snacks.
Yeah, individual is definitely much easier. I think I might actually start doing that. That makes so much sense.
Well, and especially too, if they get to the point where they're old enough that you can get them involved in it, right? If you can get them excited about the idea of, okay, yeah, we're going to pack it up. What do you want in your lunch can for your snacks? Put them to use. They've been sitting in the cupboard for 2 months now.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. I think we're going to have to be more organized like that this year as well, because we're not going to be sure if there's going to be washrooms where we're going, if there's going to be places to stop and have a snack. I mean, one of our favorite things to do is just go for a drive, go find a little town that we've never been to, and then usually there's always a little coffee shop, and we'll go and we'll have a cup of coffee and a cake. But there's no guarantees that is going to be the same this year. So yeah, I think snacks are going to have to be an absolute must-have. Do not leave the house without them.
Yeah, whatever you do.
Yeah. I feel like I'm regressing in terms of packing to leave the house now, because I'm thinking of those things that I haven't thought about since the kids were in diapers.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, let's take wipes and toilet paper and like all these things that I had been able to stop thinking about for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You can never not have enough wipes, though. Like,
yeah, I haven't quit on wipes.
Yeah. Don't give up on the wipes. Don't do it.
I hadn't given up on them, but I didn't have that same, like, oh my God, I must make sure they're there.
Yeah.
Like, if you suddenly found yourself without them, it was like, okay, that's doable.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's back to, yes, they're a must-have. And at least they're not going to freeze. I hate when they freeze in the winter.
Then they're useless.
Yeah, if they dry out a bit in the heat, that's all right. The freezing in the winter is not so good. So yeah, pro tip for any new parent who's listening, when you start to keep wipes in your vehicle, take them inside in the winter.
Yes, that's a fabulous idea. I think that we put out some pretty fabulous ideas today, actually, in the podcast, and we do unfortunately have to wrap it up. But Pauline, we want to let you talk a little bit about your blog that you guys have started putting out.
Yeah, so we've just launched a blog. We have had an Instagram for the last year, and it's done really, really well. Actually, we're really happy with the response it's had. So we decided to launch a blog in the middle of a global pandemic, a blog about traveling. So we might be the craziest people ever. But yeah, it's at dobneysadrift.com. It's very new, so we're still fixing a few glitches, but we're hoping to post loads and loads of ideas about New Brunswick. We're going to have our favorite hidden spots. We're going to be sharing some of our favorite Instagrammers who you can follow to find great hidden spots. We're going to be all those kind of tips about driving with your kids. And then once we finally manage to leave Canada, we'll be putting on lots of tips for family experiences, international family experiences and things like that. So it should be kind of fun. So yeah, if folks are interested and if they don't want to do the hard work researching all the places to go in New Brunswick, that's kind of what I love to do. So there's going to be lots and lots of lists on there, lots of ideas to get people out at this time, over the summer.
Fantastic. I'm so excited because, we've been following your Instagram pretty much as long as you've had it, I think. And it is. It gives you that, like, oh, I need to go there. Oh, yeah.
I get that from other Instagrammers for sure. Like I get that feeling from them, you know, like that when I see their stuff, it makes me want to go. And I found so many hidden gems on Instagram, you know.
Like the Berlin Wall and churro?
Yes, that one was an awesome tip that I got on Instagram for a very lovely lady. Yes.
That'd be me.
That was you. That was you. Yes. It's like tapping into all those locals, getting that local expert knowledge. Instagram's a great way, and Facebook. And
yeah, I haven't found any pieces of the Berlin Wall in New Brunswick yet, but
No,
I'm sure
me
we're all going to
neither.
find some neat things to share this summer. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
there's going to be a lot of hidden gems, a lot of locals. And that's the thing around here is New Brunswickers are like, they're loyal, they're fiercely loyal, and they don't like to give up where things are. So you might have to make some real good friends with locals wherever you go, then you'll get the tips.
I think if we can promote a sense of community though, because I find that those locals know their part really well, but that sphere of knowledge doesn't extend very far. So we need to be making friends of locals in all different parts, and we need to kind of build that communication. I think that's going to be the challenge for New Brunswickers this year. We all know about the Hopewell Rocks, we all know about King's Landing, but we need to start sharing our own favorite spots in our locality, because the locals here, they need more, they want more than just those classic tourist traps.
And
well, stay tuned to the Pickle Planet podcast, because we have a summer staycation series that is exactly focused on that, finding the locals and all the different communities who are going to give up some of the goods.
We're very, very, very excited for our summer series that's going to kick off the beginning of June, actually. So we'll be keeping you guys up to date with what's happening. But yeah, unfortunately, we're out of time. So your wonderful blog and your Instagram account is Dobney's Adrift.
That's right.
And we'll post that in the show notes so that you know how to spell Dobney.
Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Daubey, right?
N-E-Y-S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can,
See?
yeah.
Sorry. Make a better name.
No, it's wonderful. It's perfect. Okay, thank you for
show up when people look for it.
Yes, exactly. So thank you everybody for watching and listening to today's show, and we'll see you next week.